This video is brought to you by the Disc Golf Nerd Patreon support team. Go to patreon.com/discgolfnerd. What's up, guys? I want to do a quick update and show you guys how some of these recent dies that I've been doing are working out, how they're holding up, and also show you my first ever legit stencil die that I've ever done. I think it came out pretty good, and I'm pretty happy with it. First of all, I did a test run to make sure my iDye poly was still working, and I dyed up this Champ Gator with my old electrical tape technique. That came out pretty good. I always like these just plain pinstripes. They look cool when they're spinning. It's a custom disc. It still maintains a lot of the orange underneath, so you can still see it pretty good out there on the course. And I think it's a cool way to customize your plastic. And again, yeah, I really like the way it looks when it's spinning. So that was just one to make sure my iDye was working, because it's been in a jar for years. I assumed it would be, but you never know. So I gave it a shot just to make sure. And worked out great. So I moved on to my first ever stencil die. But first, I want to show you guys how some of the turmeric dies have been going. So the original one is actually the one I stencil dyed on, so you see that in a minute. But this is one that I did pretty early on. Trying to get some shadowing going on, sorry about that. So I wanted to use this beam of sunlight so you can see this rather than the artificial light, because the yellow is still there. It's quite faint. It's a little bit less faint in person than it's showing up on camera, as it's kind of been this whole time. After filming a few of these videos now with some of these, it don't really show up that much, but it's pretty faint for sure. This is the one I just brushed on with turmeric and a paintbrush, but it's still yellow and it looks cool, and in the sunlight it's definitely still noticeably yellow. Then the other day I did a dip with one, and this one took the color quite well. You can see on the bottom it's just a plain white opaque opto anchor, and you can see it got pretty yellow for sure. And this one I soaked in vinegar and turmeric on some heat as well on the stovetop, similar to how you do like an iDye dip dye. So there's that. That took the color quite well, and it has softened up a little bit over the few days since I've done it, but it's definitely still noticeably yellow. Then, in a very strange turn of events, I took a chance, you guys might have seen, at dyeing a disc with beets and vinegar. So I grated a whole fresh beet into a frying pan and had some vinegar in there to kind of mix it up. And then I got that on the heat, and I soaked this Junior Judge in it. And this one also super yellow. Like really yellow. This one is probably the darkest yellow that I've gotten so far. I mean, I submerged this whole little disc in there, but it's the same plastic, so it shouldn't make any difference there. It's the same plastic, just kind of put into the little mini mold for this Junior Judge, which is a fun little toy in general. But yeah, look at that. I really took the yellow super well. Really strange. So I expected it to maybe be a little bit like slightly pink, but yeah, it went in a very unexpected direction, so that kind of caught me off guard, and it started to make me wonder, maybe the vinegar is having more of the effect. But this one had beets in it, and it's the most vibrant yellow out of all of them. And then the other ones, I didn't even heat up the vinegar. For the first couple ones I did, the one I did for my video was not heated up. It was just a little splash of vinegar in with the turmeric. So I think the turmeric is definitely having an effect as well. I'm going to have to maybe isolate turmeric without the vinegar and just do like hot water and see if that does anything. And I'm probably going to try to get another disc and just float it in some hot vinegar and see if it does anything to change the color. Is this possible, I guess, that the actual change is occurring due to the hot vinegar? I really have no idea. I'm not a chemist, so who knows. I'm just doing these experiments and having fun. On to the star of this video, which is my first ever stencil die, and this is it right here. So the turmeric pinstripes are still underneath that, although they've faded a decent amount in the sun, and in person you can definitely still see them, and they provide a nice little textural background for this Punisher skull. So Tanner from Utility Disc Golf hooked me up with this stencil. I reached out to him because I know he does a lot of really rad stencil dies, and see if he could make me a stencil and send it to me, because I don't have the tools for any of that. And he hooked it up for a few bucks or whatever. He sent me this thing, and he did a great job. It's perfect, exactly what I wanted. And then I did it up taped it on the disc and did the whole thing and dipped it in black dye. Only one little spot bled through right there from a little issue I had transferring the stencil onto the disc, but overall really happy with the way it came out. It looks sharp. I'm a huge fan of the Netflix Punisher series, and I kind of wanted to have some Frank Castle in the bag, so I really like the way this thing came out, though. It looks awesome, and it's pretty sharp. The lines look really good. So huge thank you to Utility Disc Golf for hooking me up with that. If you want to see how he does his stencil dies and different interesting die techniques, plus phenomenal disc reviews, you can go check him out on YouTube, Utility Disc Golf. And hopefully we'll be getting some more stencils from him in the future to do some other interesting die techniques that I might come up with. And yeah, I need to come up with some ideas of some other things, maybe like a Zelda die, maybe some kind of a G.I. Joe thing. Keeping it nerdy here on my channel. So thanks for watching, guys. I'll check you later. Cheers.